Hey, what's happening, you Hoop and Hoopa? Today, showing you guys some gameplay with the new way to play Mew. This deck was originally popularized by and played by Michael Pramawat in the London Open at the World Championships about a week ago. And I think they got top 8 in one of the Opens, I believe. It was a pretty good record. Ended up placing pretty well with this build of Mew, which is really different from other builds of Mew. The number one thing you'll probably notice is there's no Meloetta in here, and there's no Fusion Strike energy. 100% double turbo energy. We're only attacking with Mew VMAX and pretty much only ever using Techno Blast. Sometimes we max Miracle, especially if we hit a Miltank, and sometimes use Glistening Droplets to like clean up a KO on the bench Pokemon. But pretty much the goal of the deck is just to Mew, Mew, Mew. So some of the cool cards we get to include when we cut out stuff like the Meloettas and the Fusion Strike energy is we go to a pretty heavy item build. Overall, which isn't like too new with Mew, but a little bit more heavy item heavy build. So we got Pokestops in here for Pokestop. We don't Pokestop actually that aggressively despite playing 4. But we do need a counter stadium to deal with Paths of the Peak. A lot of Paths of the Peak in the format right now. And, you know, just having a stadium like this that has a decent amount of utility with a card that plays this many items is pretty good. The other big card in here is the Cross Switchers. Now, we could play Catchers as well, and that would be reasonable, but we could also play Cross Switcher and guarantee that gust effect for the turn. You know, find 2 Cross Switchers instead of hoping to get a heads on a catcher. It does feel a little bit safer. It feels a little bit nicer to just have the guaranteed with the Cross Switcher instead of getting double tails on like 2 catchers or something like that. So Cross Switchers in here, and the Cross Switchers help us make some really, really big plays with the supporters that we now play in this deck. No longer play the Elsa Sparkle. So we have stuff like Avery and Roxanne. So being able to do plays against a ton of decks in the format where you can go like Roxanne plus Cross Switcher get a KO, or Avery to limit your opponent's bench, specifically up against Inteleon decks. The Avery is super strong, and then comboing that with a Cross Switcher to take out like another key target can be super, super powerful as well. And the coolest play of all that you can pull off by playing Avery and Cross Switcher in here is if your opponent sets up their board state to kind of play around Echoing Horn, what you can do is you can Avery, which makes them discard Pokemon off their bench, and then you can Echoing Horn, put a 2 prize Pokemon in play, and then Cross Switcher it up all in the same turn and get those like last 2 prize cards to close out a game. So if you're up against like an Arceus deck or a Palkia deck, and you know you've KO'd maybe a Palkia V and a Palkia V-Star, but you don't have enough tablets left to KO another Palkia V-Star, and they fill up their bench with Sobbles and Manaphy and Greninja, you can do the Avery Echoing Horn Cross Switcher combo to get those last 2 prize cards. A little bit easier than going through another Palkia V-Star. But with the addition of a Silene in here, along with the Pal Pad, recovering tablets and taking, you know, back-to-back big knockouts actually isn't that difficult as well. So that is another good option with this build. And I think that's all I want to say about the list. So let's go ahead and let's get into some gameplay. And if you want to catch more gameplay from me with this deck, then check out the secondary YouTube channel, AzulGG2, where I post a bunch of the best games from the live streams over there. So you guys can get some more top-notch action from me. So there's going to be a video of this deck specifically going up over there a little bit later today where you can catch some more games of me with this Mew build. So if you want to learn more about this Mew build in general, or just more Pokemon content from me, check out the secondary YouTube channel, AzulGG2. And of course, there's always more content to be caught from me over on the Twitch stream, twitch.tv/AzulGG. All right, let's go ahead. Let's get into some gameplay with the new way to play Mew. All right, here we go. And yeah, we'll go first. And that's the one thing about this Mew deck compared to other Mew decks. Going first is like a lot more important than it has been in the past. It's one of the strengths of Mew in general was good. When you go second, well, you can still just turn 1 attack with Meloetta and you're just kind of chilling. But when you go... Ooh, okay, what are we up against here? Trying to figure out B-Barrel. So it's probably Arceus B-Barrel. Okay, it's not that hard to figure out. Yeah, when you go second, you don't have that powerful turn 1 attack to work with anymore. And we're more reliant on kind of chilling for a turn and setting up, which is not as powerful. I'm gonna go ahead and hold off. I could have like played the Pokestop, but just in case we get pathed. Okay, this is like a weird hand now. I think I'm gonna play 1, draw 1 more card. I am kind of scared of Paths of the Peak. I'm not super scared of it, and I think we'll pass. I don't really want to use Pokestop. We don't use Pokestop that often with this deck. It's just kind of like a nice little bit of extra. I should have retreated this Mew as well. So yeah, it is an Arceus B-Barrel build here, it looks like. It's just kind of like a nice little bit of extra push to, you know, help dig for Cross Switcher plays or tablet plays or whatever Ooh, pretty good start for my opponent too. Got the switch card, got the Arceus, got the double turbo. So they're just missing something to use Trinity Charge 2 to really start to pull ahead. Oof, this hand is okay. As long as we don't get, what is that? Sylveon V, Crobat V. Do they play the Crobat V Max? Am I scared of Crobat V Max? Heavy Ball. So it is an Arceus box. We're looking at Arceus box here. Big question for me is, do they have the Crobat V Max? We got the cross switchers in hand, so I'm ready to take down a oh no, Path to the Peak as well. That is bad. We could like Silene and just put a Pokestop on top though, and then we'd be able to get back into the game. So alright if we whiff for a turn, to be honest. They're kind of splitting up the energy here. It looks like no. Crobat V Max does not seem to be on the menu. There's an Avery, but I don't love my odds of drawing into a Pokestop off the Avery. I think I'm going to go with the Silene here. And just set up a Pokestop for a future turn. And I'm even going to retreat into a Genesect because it's a little bit harder for my opponent to KO a Genesect. So we got Pokestop on the top for next turn. We have to take a turn off here, which isn't great. I don't love the idea of just chilling for a turn, but oh well, that's fine. We'll live. We'll live. Plenty of 2 prize targets on board. Pokestop set up on top. Yeah, I didn't love the odds of Avery drawing me into a Pokestop there. I could have drawn into like a Cramomatic and hit a heads, of course. Like there's a couple things that could have gone the right way. But nothing guaranteed really. So I like the idea of just kind of chilling a little bit more, I think. Using the Silene, which is not like guaranteed to get a heads. You know, Avery is guaranteed to at least draw me 3 cards. The Silene maybe gets a heads, but pretty good odds of getting a heads. We do get a heads, and now we're kind of chilling. And we are in a spot where it might be a little bit difficult for my opponent to actually get this KO on the Genesect. We'll see. They don't have access to Starburst. We do have this Quick Ball here, so if they do play Zigzagoon, they could go grab it. But something like Choice Belt would be hard to find as well. They are going with the Pumpkin Pit from the Pumpkaboo, though. So they want to use Starburst. This does give me access to my abilities, but of course they know I put a Pokestop on top of my deck, so they're like, it's whatever. And to be honest, I actually probably don't want to use Avery next turn if I can avoid it, because my opponent's bench is kind of full. I don't really want to Avery and free up spaces on my opponent's bench, to be honest. Actually, I'm curious how I want to go about this prize trade. We might try and get Roxanne involved here at some point, which makes me kind of want to like KO their B-Barrel, and then if they evolve the Sylveon V to a V Max, that's where 3 prize cards in. So we go like knock out B-Barrel, knock out Sylveon V Max, and then knock out the Crobat or an Arceus. And yeah, Avery's just not very good in this matchup, in this situation. It's like pretty mediocre. Way better against Sobble decks, of course. But we'll see what they got off this. We'll see if they're able to get the KO. That's like the big thing. They got the boss on my Mew. That is really rude. I didn't think of that they hadn't played a supporter yet, but they hadn't played a supporter yet. For some reason, I thought like boss was not an option. Okay. Back in it. Gonna send the Genesect up. And gonna burn some stuff here. Switch. Now I'm gonna go with the double cross switcher on the Sylveon. And then I'm just gonna draw a Genesect. I was about to click the Pokestop. I don't know why I was about to click the Pokestop. Ugh. I don't really need Silene anymore. Let's go with this. That's a heads. That's good. That can become Ultra Ball. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of the Avery and the... I don't want to really get rid of Oricorio, but I can. I'm gonna go with that here. Grab another Mew V. I just want to draw more of Genesect. Like we could have got the Mew V Max there, but I still need to get the energy and like a Choice Belt or a tablet or something. So I think going like this is a little bit better. I don't think I'm gonna need the Echoing Horn. Go ahead and give that up. Got a Tails. Choice Belt to the active now. Yep. Draw 3. Still need to find ourselves that double turbo energy. Got the double turbo energy, and we have an Ultra Ball to find. How do we want to do this though? We have 2 cross switchers left. Even if a boss wouldn't be terrible, but I could attach. Excuse me, and then just draw another card off Genesect first. Another double turbo energy. Huh. I do want to be able to boss potentially like 2 more times, to be honest. So I'm gonna Ultra Ball here. I could use the Pokestop. I don't think there's that many bad cards to discard anymore at this point, to be honest. So yeah, actually, I think I like using the Pokestop there. And then Ultra Ball away. VIP pass, and Rotom Phone. Yeah, let's go with that. Okay, get ourselves the Mew VMAX. All right, we're in business, hopefully. Boom, and then Techno Blast. Actually, I don't even know how much damage Sylveon VMAX does. They weren't doing a whole ton with their current board state. I probably should have gone after that Arceus V, to be honest. I'm like regretting actually. Yeah, I don't think I should have gone after. I don't think I should have gone after the Sylveon, because I was thinking about how much damage it does, but it doesn't do that much damage when they have 3 colorless Pokemon on their bench. So I should have actually gone after the Arceus V. One thing that's kind of scary here is my opponent can go boss on just 2 Pokemon off the bench. If they can find boss. They are down their Luminion and their Crobat, so that's a lot of draw power gone. They've used Starbirth, also some draw power gone. But they do have access to just drawing into boss, right? They could just draw into back-to-back bosses here. And with 2 Arceus set up now with this one, especially with the Choice Belt on it, this one can now KO Genesect. And so can this one. And that's why I want to get rid of the Sylveon, because I was like, in my head, I was like, Sylveon does more damage than Arceus when they have a, you know, full bench of different Pokemon, but I don't think they were getting there. And actually, I forget how much damage Sylveon does. I don't even know if that's true. There's a boss. Oh, no. So it's happening. Boss knockout. And if I'd actually left the Sylveon in play for them to evolve, that could have been actually better for us. Can they find a third boss is the question. No energy grab. So KO in the active here is actually a pretty big deal. Yeah, KO in the active is actually a pretty big deal here. So we can go like Dramatic, get a heads, get a tablet. Get the tablet. Cash double turbo here. Quick ball away a boss. I think I'm gonna need. I will need 1 more boss. Then Roxanne. I don't want to bench that other Mew, because if I KO this Arceus, which I'm gonna try and do, got a Mew. Rotom Foam. Tablet on top. Nice. Draw 1. Play the tablet. Draw another. Play the tablet. Draw another. So now we play 2 tablets. So now we KO the active. If they only get a double turbo, this other Arceus actually can't KO. I'm going to thin out a little bit here. Just need the boss to win the game. So I'm playing pretty heavily into that. Yeah, we still have 2 quick balls left, which are ways to find. Oh, man. Rotom Phone. Quick ball on top. Oof, what do we discard there? Is anything too bad? Oof, that's not great, actually, to be honest. Thin out the deck a little bit more. Get rid of one of these Averys. I'll grab the Mew VMAX. Yeah. Or Mew V, I'm sorry. Retreat and Techno Blast. Okay. So now, because this one didn't get an energy last turn, which I don't know. They must have just been out of energy, I guess. Maybe had a ton in hand, ton in the prize cards. It's weird that they didn't grab one there. But now our goal is basically KO the Crobat to win the game. But we're trying to limit my opponent's access to a 2-prize knockout here. So if I bench the Mew V, all they need is any energy on the Arceus V-Star plus a boss, and they would KO. I probably shouldn't have used Pokestop, to be honest, because now I could get Marnie Pathed. That's kind of scary, to be honest. Getting Marnie. We do have the Cramomatic in the deck, but I don't love. There's the path. I don't love those odds. All right, here comes the B-Bear. We do have 1 in hand. I did make sure to keep onto 1 of these in the hand. But if they get the Marnie. But yeah, now they need energy and boss. They need specifically not a double turbo energy. Because if I had benched the Mew V, a double turbo energy plus boss would have actually done it. So specifically now, they need not a double turbo energy. So we limited their outs, especially because they didn't take any energy out of the deck. They definitely have like 3 double turbo energy left. That might be not the only, but the main source of energy they have left might just be double turbo energy, to be honest. That might be the main energy they have left is double turbo energy, which means double turbo plus boss can't KO Genesect. It'd be 10 damage short. And by how they played out the earlier turns with not getting a goon, it feels like they don't have a goon. There's the boss. Here's a quick ball. Do they have, I mean, what else could they have here? What else am I afraid of? To be honest, I don't have that many options left for myself, that many resources left, so yeah, Roxanne or Marnie, like I mentioned, would be pretty tough to deal with. Stall on my Genesect. There's the double turbo. See, this is what I was talking about. It worked out just like I thought it might. The double turbo on the Arceus. And they're 10 damage on the Genesect. So if I'd benched that Mew, I would have lost the game. So we fully played around as many outs as my opponent could possibly have, and it leads to the victory here. Retreat to the Mew, boss up the Crobat, just enough resources left. I think I did maybe misplay a little bit with overextending with the Pokestops this game, but we get the dub in the end, and that's gonna do it for the gameplay with this new take on Mew. No Meloetta Mew. It's actually pretty good. It's pretty solid. Being able to play stuff like Avery and stuff in a Mew deck can be super disruptive, especially when you combo it with like cross switchers on turns. You get these big plays of like Roxanne plus cross switcher or Avery plus cross switcher. It's pretty good. So definitely recommend you guys try out the new Mew, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.